There's something feeding on you. Right now, it's not a metaphor. It's not some kind of fancy expression. This is a reality that Eckhart Tolle lays bare in some seriously unsettling detail. And here's the kicker: you probably don't even realize it. Because whatever is feeding on you has learned to hide. It's learned to disguise itself as you. Have you ever noticed how certain negative thoughts seem to have a life of their own? How they just pop up out of nowhere, uninvited, and suddenly you're drowning in rage, anxiety, or despair. Like something is manipulating your emotions from the inside. That's not your imagination playing tricks on you. According to Tolle, there's an energetic structure within you that he calls the pain body. And this structure needs to feed in order to survive. Feed on what? On your light, your consciousness, your vital energy. And it does this in a very ingenious way. It hijacks your thoughts, turns your mind into a suffering factory. And then it feeds on every negative emotion you produce, but that's just the beginning. Because the pain body doesn't just exist within you, it exists in other people too. And these pain bodies communicate. They feed off each other. They create a network of shared suffering that keeps billions of people trapped in cycles of pain, and you are right in the center of it. If you're watching this video, there's a reason. Something within you has started to notice, started to question, started to sense that something is wrong with the way your mind operates. That's the first sign of awakening, and that's exactly what the pain body fears the most. Let me explain how this works. Tolle describes the pain body as an accumulation of negative emotional energy. Every pain you've felt and haven't fully processed has left a residue. This residue doesn't just disappear. It joins with other residues and forms a semi-autonomous energetic structure that lives within you. The key word here is semi-autonomous. The pain body isn't you, but it acts as if it is. It uses your mind, uses your voice, uses your body. And most people never realize the difference. Have you ever said something in a fit of anger and later thought, where did that come from? Ever done something destructive and then couldn't explain why you did it? That's the pain body taking control. And there are clear signs that it's active, signs that most people ignore because they've never learned to recognize them. The first sign is repetition. Do you notice you're having the same negative thought over and over? The same worry coming back? The same painful memory surfacing for no reason? That's the pain body seeking attention, seeking energy. It repeats the same patterns because it knows they work. The second sign is disproportion. Do you react to small situations with enormous emotions? Someone makes an innocent comment and you explode? Something goes wrong at work and you feel like the world is ending. When the reaction is much bigger than the situation justifies, the pain body is using that situation to feed. The third sign is the search for confirmation. Do you notice you're looking for reasons to stay angry, mentally replaying an argument to prove you were right? Seeking evidence that someone treated you badly? This isn't you seeking justice. It's the pain body seeking more fuel. The fourth sign is the feeling of being controlled. Have you ever felt like your emotions are in charge? That you're doing things you don't want to do? Saying things you don't want to say? Like you're watching yourself from the outside, unable to stop? That sensation of being a passenger in your own body is a clear sign that the pain body has taken the wheel. But here's what makes this even more disturbing. The pain body isn't active all the time. It enters periods of dormancy. It can lie dormant for days, weeks, even months. And then, when you least expect it, it awakens. And when it awakens, it needs to feed. How does it do this? Through situations, through thoughts, through other people. The pain body is incredibly intelligent at creating situations that generate suffering. It manipulates you to enter conflicts, to interpret neutral situations as personal attacks, to turn small problems into emotional catastrophes. And every time you suffer, but it feeds. But wait, it gets even more sinister. The pain body doesn't just feed on your suffering. It feeds on the suffering that you cause in others, and the suffering that others cause in you. Tolle explains that pain bodies are magnetically attracted to each other. A person with an active pain body will instinctively seek out other people whose pain bodies can be activated. Have you ever met someone who seemed to suck your energy? Someone who left you completely exhausted after a conversation. Someone who seemed to always create drama, conflict, negativity. That's not a coincidence. That person's pain body was looking for food, and it found it in yours. And the most disturbing part? This process is completely unconscious. The person doesn't know they're doing it. They genuinely believe they're just being themselves, that the drama is justified, that the conflicts are necessary. Tolle describes encounters between people as a dance of pain bodies. Two pain bodies meet and immediately start provoking each other. One says something that activates the other reacts in a way that feeds the first, and so begins a spiral of mutual suffering that can last minutes, hours, or in some cases, entire years. Think of the most toxic relationships you've ever had, the friendships that exhausted you, the family members who always managed to get under your skin. In all those cases, there was a dynamic of pain bodies feeding on each other. And here's the shocking revelation. You didn't enter those relationships by accident. Your pain body sought them out. It identified people whose pain bodies would be compatible with yours, people who would have the right buttons to push, the right wounds to poke. This explains why some people seem to repeat the same relationship patterns, why they always attract the same type of toxic partner, why they seem incapable of breaking the cycle. It's not bad luck. It's the pain body in command, choosing situations that guarantee its own nourishment. Psychology researchers have a term for this: energy vampires, people who drain the emotional energy of others. Studies show that narcissists and people with certain personality disorders frequently fit this pattern. But Tolle goes beyond conventional psychology. He suggests that it's not the person themselves who is the vampire. It's the pain body within them. The person is as much a victim as those they drain. That changes everything, because it means you too have this capacity. That when your pain body is active, you could also be draining others without even realizing it, creating suffering, feeding the cycle. But why does this happen? Why do we develop this destructive structure inside ourselves? Eckhart Tolle explains that the pain body is a manifestation of the ego, and the ego is a mental structure based on identification with forms, with thoughts, with social roles, with the past. The ego doesn't exist in the present moment. It only exists through stories, memories, projections of the future. And the pain body is the emotional component of the ego, the part that carries all the accumulated pain. Tolle makes an important distinction here. The ego itself isn't evil. It's a necessary tool for navigating the world. You need a sense of self to function in society, to remember your name, to know where you live, to have goals and objectives. The problem arises when you identify completely with the ego, when you believe that the ego is all that you are, when you forget that there's something larger, deeper, truer behind it. And the pain body takes advantage of this identification. It hides behind the ego, uses the ego as a disguise, and when the pain body takes control, you genuinely believe that it's you who is acting. You feel that your reactions are justified, that your anger is legitimate, that your suffering is deserved. But it's not you. It never was. And that's the great illusion that keeps billions of people trapped. The illusion that they are their thoughts, that they are their emotions, that they are their past, that they are their pain body. And here comes the crucial part. The ego feeds on problems and on conflicts and on drama, because these things give it a sense of existence, of importance, of solidity. Have you ever noticed how some people seem addicted to problems? How they solve one problem and immediately create another? How they seem incapable of simply being at peace? That's the ego in action, the pain body in action. Without problems, without suffering, the ego starts to lose strength, starts to dissolve, and that's the last thing it wants. So it creates more suffering, more drama, more conflict, all to maintain its existence. Tolle describes this as an addiction. The ego is literally addicted to suffering. Just as a drug addict needs their substance to feel alive, the ego needs problems, conflicts, and negativity to feel real. And like every addiction, there's a tolerance. Over time, the ego needs ever higher doses, bigger problems, more intense conflicts, deeper suffering. And that's why some people seem to go from crisis to crisis. They barely finish one drama before they're creating another, because the previous level of suffering is no longer enough. The ego has developed a tolerance and now needs more. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone for whom life seems like a never-ending sequence of catastrophes. Someone who seems incapable of having a period of peace. That's not bad luck. It's the ego at its maximum level of activity, consuming all the person's vital energy, transforming every moment into a source of suffering. And the worst part is, the person genuinely believes that the problem is external, that it's the circumstances, that it's fate, that it's others. They don't realize that the true generator of suffering is within them. You might be thinking, this is terrible. How can I break free from this? That's exactly the right question. And Tolle offers an answer that's both simple and revolutionary. Observation. Yes, just observe. The pain body can only survive if you're unconsciously identified with it. If you believe that the thoughts and emotions it produces are yours, are true, are who you are. But the moment you observe, something changes. The moment you realize, this is the pain body and not me, the identification is broken. A higher dimension of consciousness enters. Tolle calls this presence. And the pain body can't survive the light of conscious presence where, let me be more specific. Let's say you're in a conversation and suddenly feel a wave of anger surging. In the unconscious mode, you would simply be taken over by that anger. Act from it. Say things you'd regret. But if you're present, something different happens. You notice the anger rising. You feel the energy of it in your body. But instead of identifying with it, you observe it, as if you were watching from the outside. And in that moment of observation, you're no longer the anger. You're the consciousness that observes the anger. And that's the key to everything, because anger, or any negative emotion, only has power when you believe that it is you. When you say, I am angry, you're completely fused with the emotion. But when you say there is anger being observed, the dynamic changes completely. Now there's you, the observing consciousness, and the emotion. Two separate things. And the emotion, without your identification, begins to lose strength, begins to dissipate. The pain body depends on your unconsciousness, on your identification, on your spiritual sleep. Each moment of presence is a victory against it. Tolle tells a story about this in The Power of Now. He describes a woman who came to him completely dominated by her pain body. She was furious, shouting, accusing. Her face was contorted with anger. Anyone normal would have reacted, would have defended themselves, would have attacked back. But Tolle did none of that. He simply stayed present, observed, and didn't react to her pain body, so didn't fuel the fire. And something extraordinary happened. Without fuel, without reaction, her pain body began to lose strength. The anger subsided. The woman was confused for a moment, and then she began to cry. Not from anger, from relief. For the first time in a long time, she could feel something besides the pain body. She could glimpse who she really was beneath all that accumulated pain. That's the power of presence. When you don't react to the pain body, neither your own nor that of others, you break the cycle. You stop feeding the machine, and the machine starts to stop. But let me be honest with you. This isn't easy. The pain body won't simply accept being observed. It will resist. It will create distractions. It will intensify the thoughts and emotions to pull you back into unconsciousness. And, perhaps most importantly, it will use other people. Remember what I said about pain bodies attracting each other. When you start to awaken, when your pain body starts to weaken, something strange happens. The people around you whose pain bodies are still strong will feel it, not consciously, but on an energetic level. They'll perceive it, and they will react. Some will attack you for no apparent reason. Others will try to pull you back into dramas and conflicts. Still others will simply drift away, uncomfortable with your newfound energy. Eckhart Tolle talks about this in A New Earth. He says that spiritual awakening inevitably irritates the egos of others, because your presence becomes an unconscious reminder of their own state of unconsciousness. And for many people, that's unbearable. Tolle explains this with a powerful metaphor. He says that when you awaken, you become like a light turned on in a dark room. Everyone who was comfortable in the darkness suddenly feels exposed. Your light reveals things they'd rather not see, exposes patterns they'd prefer to keep hidden, and the natural reaction? To try to extinguish the light. This explains why many people on spiritual paths face resistance from their own families, why longtime friends suddenly become hostile, why co-workers start creating problems for no apparent reason. It's not a coincidence. It's not bad luck. It's the collective ego reacting to a threat, because when one person awakens, they become living proof that awakening is possible, and that threatens the entire structure of illusion that keeps the ego in power. So they'll try to extinguish your light, drag you back down, convince you that you're wrong, crazy, or arrogant. You might hear things like, "You've changed, and we don't even recognize you anymore." Or, "Who do you think you are?" Or, "Stop acting like you're better than everyone else." But realize this. Those aren't necessarily the people talking. It's their pain bodies, scared, threatened, trying to survive. When you understand that, everything changes. You stop taking the attacks personally. You develop compassion, because you know that those people are just as trapped as you once were. And here's the final warning. If you're on a path of awakening, prepare for this. Prepare for resistance. Prepare for people who seem determined to drain your energy. Prepare for moments when your own pain body will try to sabotage your progress. But also know this. Nothing can truly extinguish your light, because your light isn't something you have. It's what you are. It's consciousness itself. It's the presence that exists before any thought, any emotion, any pain body. The pain body may try to obscure that light, but it can't destroy it. Never. Each moment of presence strengthens the light. Each conscious observation weakens the pain body. And with time, with practice, with persistence, the light becomes stronger than any darkness. Let me give you a concrete practice. The next time you feel a strong negative emotion arising, stop. Don't react immediately. Instead, close your eyes for a moment. Feel the emotion in your body. Where is it located? Is it a pressure in your chest, a tension in your stomach, a tightness in your throat? Just feel it. Don't judge. Don't try to change it. Just observe. And while observing, ask a silent question. Who is observing this? That question is powerful because it takes you beyond the emotion. It takes you to the observer, to consciousness itself. And in that space of observation, you'll find something extraordinary. A peace that exists independent of what's happening. A calm that doesn't need favorable circumstances. That's your true nature. That's what you really are. Tolle calls this the dimension of being. And in that dimension, there's no past. There's no future. There's no pain body. There's only the now. There's only presence. There's only you, in your purest form. And that dimension has always been available. It's always been here. You just didn't realize it because you were too busy with the thoughts, with the dramas, with the suffering that the ego created to keep itself alive. But now you know, now you realize, and that knowledge is irreversible. Once you glimpse the truth, you can no longer pretend you haven't seen it. Once you experience presence, you can no longer get completely lost in unconsciousness. The pain body may still try. It may still awaken. It may still create suffering. But something in you will always remember. Will always know that there's a way out, an alternative, another way to exist, and no pain body, no energy vampire, no ego can touch that. When you really understand this, when you experience this, something changes permanently. The fear of suffering diminishes because you know that there's a place inside you that suffering can't reach. You'll still feel emotions. You'll still have occasional negative thoughts. The pain body may still awaken from time to time, but you'll no longer be a slave to it. You'll no longer be manipulated. You'll no longer be used as a food source for negative energetic structures. You will be free, and when you're free, something magical happens. Your presence begins to affect others, not in an aggressive or proselytizing way, but simply by your existence, by your energy. People around you will start to feel peace when they're near you. They'll start to question their own patterns. They'll start to awaken. This is the opposite of being an energy vampire. Instead of draining, you nurture. Instead of consuming light, you radiate light. Instead of feeding the collective suffering, you contribute to the collective awakening. That's the true purpose of being here, not to suffer, not to feed or be fed by pain bodies, but to awaken, to remember who you really are, to be a beacon of consciousness in a world that desperately needs light. Tolle talks about a new humanity emerging, people who are waking up in ever-increasing numbers, people who are freeing themselves from the domination of the ego and the pain body, people who are bringing more consciousness to the planet. You can be one of those people. In fact, if you've made it this far into this video, there's a good chance that you already are, because the ego would have no interest in this information. The pain body wouldn't seek knowledge about how to free itself from it. Something deeper in you brought you here. The same consciousness that's observing these words. And that consciousness is growing, expanding, becoming more present. Every time you choose to observe instead of react, it grows. Every time you identify the pain body instead of merging with it, it strengthens. Every time you return to the present moment, it expands. And there's no limit to this expansion. There's no ceiling to the awakening. You can go as deep as you want, as far as you're willing to go. And it all starts with one simple act: observing, being present. Recognizing that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not your pain body, you are the light that the pain body is trying to obscure, and that light is shining right now, in this very moment. As you read these words, the only question is, will you realize it? Because your ability to see the light within you has been expanded by what you've just learned. Few channels reveal this, because most are still trapped in the ego's feeding cycle. When you contribute a super thanks, you're declaring that you've chosen awakening. It's not payment, it's positioning. You are saying that you are a guardian of conscious presence, that you choose to be light, not food. The pain body wants you to remain asleep. It wants you to continue being a source of suffering, an energy battery for its survival. But you have a choice. You always have. And now you know. You know that there's something trying to feed on you. You know how it operates. You know how to recognize it. And you know how to free yourself. The question now is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to go back to sleep? Let the pain body take control again, continue fueling the cycle of suffering? Or are you going to do something different? Are you going to observe? Are you going to be present? Are you going to remember who you really are? The choice is yours. It always has been. And this is the final warning. The ego, the pain body, this entire structure of suffering, it's feeding on you, on your energy, on your consciousness, on your light. But it can only continue doing so while you are asleep. The moment you awaken, it loses its power, and you can awaken now, in this very moment, simply by noticing. Who is reading these words? Not the pain body, not the ego, not the thoughts. Consciousness is, presence is, light is, you are. That is the truth that they don't want you to know, and now you know. A question for reflection. How many times today did you notice the pain body trying to take control? How many times were you able to observe instead of react? Comment your experience. Team ego or team presence. Where are you? Right now. And be honest. That honesty is the first step toward freedom.